Hi guys, today we're doing a new topic. So today we're doing 14-1, 14-2, and 14-3. So we're moving away from decimals and we are going to enter the world of measuring, okay? Now, today I'm kind of going to send you on a little scavenger hunt around your house. You can either pause the video every time I say something and you can go find it, or you can just watch the whole video and then try to find these things at the end. You don't have to do anything with them. It's just so that you can see for yourself what it is that I'm talking about, okay? So what we're talking about today is customary units of measurement, okay? So that means, what do we use to measure things? We can measure the length of something. That's when we use rulers and yardsticks. We can measure how much something can hold, so that would be capacity. And we'll talk about how much something weighs. Okay, so that's just talking about weight. So we're going to start with units of length. Okay, so units of length, customary units of length. Okay, now I'm going to read one and then I'm going to ask you a question. So a paper clip is about 1 inch. Okay, so that's how you would write down inches, or if you ever see that on the test, IN means inch. Okay, why do you think I used the word about? What does that word mean? Does it mean exactly 1 inch, or is it close to 1 inch? That's right, it's close. So all of these on these whiteboards that I show you are going to say about, because the items that I'm talking about are pretty close to that. Okay? A book is about 1 foot. And another way to write foot or feet is FT. Okay? A baseball bat is about 1 yard. And yard you would spell, or you would write YD. And then 4 times around the track is about 1 mile. Okay, take a look at that. So if you have these items, you can go look for them. I went on my own scavenger hunt and found things around my house. So I don't have a paper clip, but the lid to this marker right here is about 1 inch. Okay, so if you have something that is probably a short lid to a marker, or if you have a paper clip, go find it. Okay, so that's 1 inch. Then I have a book here. Okay, the book will represent 1 foot. Now, I'm specifically talking about the spine of the book. Okay, so like your Wonders book, your math book, all your workbooks, all the books that you basically have in your desk that are for our curriculum are about 1 foot. The books you read for like a pleasure or a report or book reports, sometimes they're a little shorter than 1 foot, but and then we have, I don't have a baseball bat. I mean, I do, but it's in my car. I'm not going to go get that. You've seen this, right, in class? Let's see if I can back up the computer. This is my poster where I write down all that stuff to put around the classroom to help you guys remember certain things. Okay, well, this part of the poster, this side part, is about 1 yard. Okay. And remember, 1 yard is how many feet? 3 feet. And then we have 1 mile. Okay. Now, I can't exactly fit 1 mile inside my house, but let's think about something that you know. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Liberty Park by the Cerritos Mall, or if you guys have ever been to Cerritos Park East. They have running tracks there, or Artesia High School, or Cerritos High School, or Gar High School. Okay, they have tracks to run around. About 4 times running around those tracks will equal about 1 mile. Or if you've never been to any of those places, think about school. Think about Aloha, okay? That nice patch of grass that I always make you run around, if you go around that 4 times, that's about a mile. So think about that. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break on showing you items because we're done with length items. However, you're going to have to know a little more about length. So what I'm about to show you applies only to length, okay? No capacity and no weight. Alright, you see this? I drew a ruler, okay? So I have 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, 7 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches. I'm going to put really close to the screen. Notice how there's lines in between each inch. Okay, do you guys see that? Okay, the reason earlier I said we're moving away from decimals, but I didn't say we were moving away from fractions, okay? Because when you look at rulers, fractions still apply, okay? Remember when I would make number lines for fractions? This is basically that, okay? So all of these tick marks before the 1 means that it's less than 1 whole inch. Anything after that, you have mixed numbers. So 1 inch and something, okay? So I zoomed in, okay? So I blew up this 1 inch section and I made it bigger right here. This is way bigger than an inch, but I made it bigger just so that you can see, okay? So here I have 0, and then right here I have 1 inch, okay? The blue tick marks represent a half, okay? So that's 1/2. The pink tick marks represent 1/4. So here I have 1/4, and then remember the half is still a fourth, so I have 2/4. Then I have 3/4, and I have 1/2. So I basically cut my inch into 4 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I reach my hole, okay? Some rulers are different. Some rulers are really easy and they only cut their inches into halves because it's for kids who are just starting to learn how to work with rulers. And then some rulers cut them into fourths. Then you have some rulers that cut them into eighths, some rulers that cut them into sixteenths, so the parts are really, really tiny, okay? So something that you need to know about is the first thing is estimating versus measuring. Okay, so estimate versus measuring. There's going to be some problems that you come across when you're doing units of length. So let's say it shows you a picture of, where did I put it? Let's say it shows you a picture of a marker, okay? It's going to say, estimate how long or how many inches the marker will be. That means that you have to take a guess. You have to look at the marker and think, how long will that be? And then you're going to have to answer the question. And then it might ask you, now measure the marker and tell us how long it is. Okay? So that's when you're actually going to get your ruler and you're going to measure your marker. Okay? So I'm going to put a dot where that marker stopped. Okay. Do you guys see that green dot? Okay. So that's estimate versus measuring. Okay, you take a guess first about how much something might weigh or hold or measure, and then you actually measure it. So now the second thing you're going to have to know is the nearest inch versus the exact inch, okay? So nearest inch is very similar to estimating, okay? You're kind of going to take a guess and say, all right, this is the closest inch to it, okay? So what you would do is you would measure it, okay? So I already made my dot right there. Now let's look very closely. Here is my dot, okay? That's what my marker measured. Now, what is the closest or nearest inch to that dot? Okay? Is it 7 inches? Is it 4 inches? Is it 2 inches? Or is it 5 inches? Think. Okay, so you should have, not 7, not 2. So it has to be between 4 and 5. Now let's look at that dot. Here is my halfway mark. That blue is the halfway point. Is that green dot closer to 5 inches or closer to 4 inches? 5, okay? So your nearest inch would be 5 inches, okay? But then it asks us for the exact inch. This is where you're going to have to do some math. Okay, so I know for sure it's 4 inches, okay? Is it up to the 5 yet? No, it's just the closest one, but it's not quite at 5 inches yet. So we know it's at 4 inches. And then this is 4 inches and 1/4. This is 4 inches and 1/2. And this one is 4 inches and 3/4. Okay, remember down here I helped you out. So that other pink one is 4 inches and 3/4. See, that green dot is kind of in between both the blue and the pink, okay? If you put 4 and 1/2 as your answer, or if you put 4 and 3/4 as your answer, you'll be okay because it's right in the middle, okay? So that's estimating. You just look at your object and you take a guess, then you actually measure it, and then there's nearest inch and exact inch. Okay, so remember that's for length only when you're measuring things with a ruler or a yardstick. Okay. All right. Now we're moving on to capacity. Okay. Let me find capacity. So capacity means how much something can hold. So I don't know if you guys have ever been in a room or like a McDonald's, a restaurant or something. If you look around, you'll see a sign that says total capacity, and then it'll say a number like 200 persons. Okay, that means that that place where you're at can only hold that many people. Okay, so you're gonna notice that as I'm reading these, instead of is about, it's going to say holds about, okay? So a lot of this stuff is going to have to do with liquid, okay? Not all of it, but a good amount of it. So, a milk carton holds about 1 cup. The way you would write cup is with just a C, okay? So the kind of milk carton I'm talking about is the kind that you get for lunch at school, okay? Your little either chocolate or regular milks, okay? That's about 1 cup. And then an ice cream tub holds about 1 pint, okay? And I'm not talking about like the big old ice creams that you guys get. I'm talking about like the ones that are like this big. They're a lot of Ben & Jerry's ones. I don't know what other brands there are out there because, you know, I don't like ice cream. So that holds about 1 pint. Okay, and pint is PT. And then a juice carton holds about 1 quart. Quart is QT. Get it? Cutie. Okay, and the carton I'm talking about, I'll show you in a little bit. Just hold on. And then a big milk holds about 1 gallon. Gallon is G-A-L. Okay, like, hey gal. Okay. Now, the gallon that I'm talking about, see how it has a little handle? Okay. Yeah, it's the ones that have the handle that are like the biggest containers of milk that you can buy. Sometimes orange juices come in those too. But now let's send you on your scavenger hunt. Okay. All right, let's say you don't have a milk carton at your house. If your parents or grandparents like to bake or like to cook, I'm sure they'll have measuring cups, okay? So this measuring cup is exactly 1 cup, okay? So 1 cup. And then, like I said, I don't like ice cream, but these regular water bottles are about 1 pint, okay? And then here's the juice carton that I was talking about, okay? This holds about 1 quart. And now, whoops. I don't have anything that's a gallon. But remember, a gallon is the big plastic milk that has the handle on it. Okay, you guys have pretty much all seen that or even have it in your fridge right now. Okay, so that's 1 gallon. Okay, and now we're going to move on to customary units of weight. Okay, so weight is how heavy something is or how much something weighs. Okay. So notice I don't say holds anymore now, I say weighs. Okay, so a key weighs about 1 ounce. An ounce is OZ. Okay. A newborn tiny puppy or kitty weighs about 1 pound. And pound is LB. Okay. Why it's LB? I don't know. None of those letters are in pounds, but it's LB. Okay. And then a car weighs about 1 ton. And ton is T. Okay. Now, scavenger hunt time. Where are my keys? Okay. Here are my keys. Okay. But not all of them weigh 1 ounce. Only about 1 of them, okay, weighs about 1 ounce. Now, I said a kitty or a puppy, and I don't have a kitty or a puppy, and Stumpy's too big and heavy and fat to be 1 pound. So instead, there's something else that weighs about 1 pound, and it's a baseball, okay? Go Dodgers. So that's about 1 pound. Okay. And then obviously I'm not going to bring a whole car in here, and I can't even lift it, so it's about 1 ton, okay? Other things that weigh about a ton, think about something in your house that might weigh a ton. Probably nothing inside your house weighs a ton, but maybe if you put your fridge and your couch and your beds all together, maybe that weighs a ton, okay? A giraffe also weighs about a ton. An elephant also weighs about a ton. Okay. So those are all your customary units of measure. So we have length, we have capacity, we have weight. Okay. And all of those have their own measurements. So length has inches, feet, yards, miles. Capacity has cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. And weight. And weight has ounce, pound, and ton. Okay, so we're not quite done yet. So a lot of your problems for today's quick check are going to be very similar to what I'm about to say right now, okay? So it's going to ask you things like, oh, let's just get your book. Okay, so it's going to give you some items, and then you're going to have to take your best guess about what you're going to use to measure those. So let's give some length examples, okay? Now, this is where you have to think, okay? You have to be very logical, and that means that your answers have to make some sense, okay? So right now, the first thing I see right here is a highway, okay? A highway, that's like a freeway, okay? Remember how small in inches. Okay, remember this is length. So inch, foot, yard, and miles, okay? I can't have you sitting here saying, oh, you can measure a freeway using an inch. You know how long you're going to be sitting there measuring that freeway? Forever, okay? So between inch, foot, yard, and mile, which one do you think you would use? I hope you said mile, okay? Let's try another one. Okay. A pencil. You guys have all held a pencil before. None of you better come out saying, I'm going to use yards to measure a pencil, okay? A yard is like this big. So no yards. It should be an inch. Okay. And then let's move on to capacity. So capacity is how much something will hold, okay? Okay. So let's think of a bucket, okay? Just like a bucket that you would use to mop or something, okay? Here's a cup. Would you use a cup? You'd be sitting there for about 30 minutes, maybe even more, just filling up a gallon with cups. So no, not cups, okay? For some of these, you're going to have two options that are possible, okay? For a gallon, you can use quarts. A gallon. For a bucket, you can use quarts or you can use gallons. Then it might ask you questions like, it might show you a picture. So like right here, you have a picture of a bathtub. Okay, you guys have all been in a bathtub, I hope. So would a bathtub hold 3 gallons or 30 gallons? Okay, think. A gallon is just a little bit bigger than this. Okay, so would a bathtub hold 3 of these or 30 of these? Okay, so those are some questions that you might get asked for capacity. And now weight. So remember, weight is ounce, pound, and ton. Okay. So a bicycle, just a regular bike, not a motorcycle. Would you use ounces? Remember, ounces are keys. Would you use pounds? Remember, pounds is about 1 baseball. Or would you use tons? A ton is a car. So a bike that you ride around in the neighborhood. I would say pounds. You use pounds for that. Okay. Now, a little tiny bottle of nail polish. How much does that weigh? I hope you said ounces. Okay, so that's your lesson for today. So go ahead and do the quick checks for 14-1, 14-2, and 14-3. And if you need extra help, you can rewatch this video, or you can watch the videos that I posted in the math section of Google Classroom. All right, bye.